What's going on, guys? Thanks for coming to Politics and Life. This is Jordan. I hope all my freedom-loving patriots are having a blessed day. Like, comment, subscribe. Tom Macdonald has been doing interviews this past couple weeks, and as you guys know, he is my favorite independent, anti-government, free-thinking artist, and everything he puts out, and I mean everything, is the number one. It's a hit. Everything he puts out says an important message. It goes against the anti-woke system that we see in today's society. And I will always support an independent artist that pushes a message with a beautiful message as well in the song, and that is Tom Macdonald. He did a few interviews now for PragerU, and this was released today. It's 13 minutes, I believe, and it talks about where he started, where he came from, and where he's at today. And I think it's very inspirational, and I want to react to it and show you guys as well. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let's get it started, y'all. Hog Gang in the house, Hangover Gang in the house. If you have not heard that, that is Tom's logo. That is his group of people who follow him. Let's get it started.
The way my social media you cancel me. I own all the cameras. I own all the lights. I own the recording software. There's no endorsement that I'm going to lose. My name.
Hey Ruth, I hope you're having a great day. Yeah, Tom Macdonald, as you know, is my favorite artist, and he did an interview today, and we are going to react to it right now.
It's Tom Macdonald, and this is my story. So I grew up in a very small town in Canada called Mission. We spent a lot of time at my grandparents' place and a lot of time with my granddad. And my dad and my grandfather were huge into politics, primarily like American politics. My grandfather was a huge patriot, and I used to sit on the end of his bed and we'd watch the news. I remember we were watching it on the news and my grandfather said, it doesn't matter what's happening in the United States, that national anthem brings the country together every single time.
Yes.
My grandfather was
and it pisses me off these days when you see these assholes that burn the flag, who have other countries' flags that they hold up in our country while they're in our country illegally, and all other people who just create their own national anthem. Now there's like a new BLM, Black National Anthem. We have one national anthem, and that's our anthem of America that we've had forever. People have died holding that flag for our freedom forever as well. So to see the disrespect from people, I just have no patience for. If I see someone burn a flag in front of me, I will want to break your jaw. I'm sorry. I don't like to talk like that on lives, but I think you are a disrespectful piece of trash. And if you hate this country so much, leave. It's really that simple.
A very prolific writer, and he inspired me to write things of my own. I remember I wrote this poem in memorial of fallen Canadian soldiers. The soldiers I was writing about won the battle, and then the general or the sergeant was frowning, and my English teachers tore this thing apart. Why is he frowning if he won?
Ruth, I know you might not like rap, but have you actually heard what he says in the music? Because it's all about the message in his songs, and he's against the government, he's against the system, or AKA the Matrix. He's against wasting our taxpayer funds. He's for freedom of speech, and that's kind of what his music's all about. But I mean, if you're not a rap fan, I understand, because it is rap. But he also does country, he also does R&B, he does hip hop.
On the war, my dad was livid. He's like, of course he's frowning. He lost all these soldiers. He's coming out of a war. Like, of course he's not happy. So my grandfather contacted this renowned Canadian poet, and she wrote me a letter saying how much she loved the poem and how great it was. And then she actually had it published in a Canadian magazine. I remember my dad coming to my school and dropping the magazine on that teacher's desk and turning around and walking out. One day I went to a pawn shop with my dad, and he gave me $5. And he said, you can buy anything in this pawn shop with this $5. And I found this crate of CDs. Inside, there was a Tupac album called All Eyes on Me. It was a 2 CD set, and I'm just looking at it economically. If I
can't lie, the minute I saw that CD set as well, All Eyes on Me, I had to grab it myself because I was a huge hip hop fan back in the day. But I would suggest everyone to look up Tupac before the fame. He was very flamboyant, and I think that the whole thug life was a setup by the CIA, because they are the ones that control the whole music industry, as we now know. And I think they propped Tupac up, but that doesn't. I'm not saying he didn't have amazing music. He did.
Get this Tupac album. I get 2 CDs for the price of one. So I just bought it. I had no idea who Tupac was. I listened to those 2 albums for years, and I fell in love with hip hop at that point in time. But there's a huge disconnect. It was just like a little white boy from the suburbs who's listening to this like fully grown black gangster rapper talking about a life that I have nothing in common with. So then many years later, I get on the school bus and this kid sits next to me and he's like, you got to hear this. And I'm like, what is it? And he's like, it's this white rapper. His name's Eminem. So I put on the headphones and was just totally captivated. He's got blonde hair like me. He's got blue eyes like me. And that was like the first time the light bulb went off in my head. Like, I could do that.
Are you looking to start your own business? Well, look no further than busy.com. Right now, we'll complete your...
So the poetry evolved into rap music.
As we all know now, though, Eminem sold out the first chance he could get. He was against the system, which he rapped about when he was young, and now he promotes BLM while hating on Trump supporters and supporting the system that is against the people. So Eminem's just another sellout, and that's why I have more respect for Tom Macdonald and artists that do it independently like this guy right here.
And I kept those songs hidden for years and years and years, stuffed in a binder inside a drawer in my room. I loved music, but I just wasn't ready to step into that arena yet. So I took a detour. I got into construction, and I was 14 or 15 years old, being bullied by the other workers. So I thought, how am I going to work for the rest of my life and deal with this type of harassment? So I decided I'd give pro wrestling a try. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to throw the biggest roadblock up for myself ever. I went and got tattoos on my face. I got these dollar signs on my eyelids so that I couldn't get hired anywhere. I'd have no choice but to be a pro wrestler. And that's what I did. I wrestled on all these pay-per-views with former and current WWF guys and traveled the country. And I got into a little bit of a scrap one time with one of these guys and jumped off the top rope and to do a frog splash, and I crushed all the cartilage in both my knees. My knees were so messed up that it sort of forced me out of the wrestling business. It was heartbreaking because I loved it so much. But that exit provided me with the greatest opportunity ever, where I had this sort of clean slate. I had a passion for music that I wasn't able to explore up until that moment because I was so devoted to the wrestling business. So I started pulling those papers out of that binder in that drawer in my bedroom and recording songs, and that was the beginning. So I started making this music that was very reminiscent of my favorite rappers, and it wasn't working because it wasn't my story, and it wasn't what I cared about, and it wasn't what was in my heart. But I also shifted my lifestyle to be like the guys in the rap songs that I listened to. I was placing incredible amount of emphasis on how much money I was making and the jewelry I was wearing and the clothes that I had. And I became just a raging alcoholic, just partied my life away for many.
One thing I don't like about today's music industry is they promote alcoholism, they promote drugs, it's heavy drug usage, they promote violence, degrading women, and that is another reason I respect Tom Macdonald, because he does none of that during his music.
Many years. I ended up having just incredible mental breakdown and sort of unraveling of my psyche one night. The room was moving and shifting around me. I look at myself in the mirror. I don't even recognize myself. I was hyperventilating. And I went to the doctor, and the doctor put me on Cipralex, which was not the solution. I contacted a mental health place, and I couldn't get in to see a therapist or a psychologist for 6, 7, 8 months because the Canadian healthcare system is just abysmal. So I go to this doctor. He puts me on some sort of beta blocker. That doesn't work. This just goes on and on and on for, 4, 5, 6 months. And then I go back to the doctor one day and I'm like, nobody's helping me. Every moment feels like an eternity. You have to help me. And I just told him straight up, I'm going to kill myself if you don't give me something today. So he gave me Ativan. For the first time in 7 months, I experienced calm. The first thing I thought was, I don't want to be on these pills for the rest of my life. I hate to say it, but the Ativan kind of saved my life. It at least gave me the headspace to figure out what was going on. I have a tattoo on my stomach and it says, if you don't know where the fire started, you will surely burn in it. Those medications, those pills, they're never going to tell you where the fire started. They just sort of fan the smoke away for a minute. A lot of people look at these things as, oh, I have this ailment and these guys over here have the cure. Fix me. But that's not how it works. You have to fix yourself. So I started really digging into what the source of my unwellness was. I kind of realized what got me there. And I was emulating the stuff in the music. So I had this sort of epiphany, and I figured out, I don't want to make that music anymore. I don't want to make music that's going to do to other people what that music has done to me. So instead of destroying, I wanted to empower. I want to rap about things that I talked about with my granddad and my dad, social issues and political stuff. That's what I'm interested in talking about in my everyday life. Why would I then not go and do that in my music? While I was going through that process, I made plans to move to America. And my lawyer called and said, your visa got approved. I believe that timing is everything, and it was like a meant to be type of thing. So I got on the plane, flew out here to LA, and I reconnected with an old friend who later became my girlfriend. Nova and I first met in Canada.
Shout out to Nova Rockefeller. That is Tom's woman, who is the producer and the genius behind his videos. You two as a pair are just perfect. The perfect duo in the music industry. And no wonder why you guys are #1 every song you put out, because you got Nova in the background.
And she was like the only female in Canada putting on rap shows. We moved into a house in Crenshaw. We lived in the hood together, and it was grim. We couldn't pay the rent and do groceries in the same month. There's water coming through the ceiling. I'd wake up and open a cupboard, and you'd just see cockroaches scatter off the plates. Like, it was unbelievable poverty. This really strange thing happened this one day where I was like sitting in the house, and I was listening to the radio, and some big mainstream record label rapper came on, and I was listening to this song that was playing, and it was sort of like this woe is me, like, it's so hard to deal with all the attention I get, and it's so difficult to be this successful. And I was so offended. I was like, how dare you make a song trashing the dream that I've been chasing for years and years and years and almost died to get. So I started penning this like open letter to the guy that I had just heard on the radio.
That is the Dear Rapper song background song, or the thing going in the background, that mellow beat. Awesome song. I would suggest everyone look it up. It's called Dear Rappers by Tom Macdonald. It is the song that put him on.
At the time, I only wrote when I smoked. So I grabbed the cigarette pack and I opened it, and there's half a smoke in there. Whatever I'm writing, it's got to be done by the time this half cigarette's out. So I got like 2.5 minutes tops. I don't remember slowing down to consider what I was writing next. It just happened. I just wrote this whole song. Nova was sitting in her bedroom, and I opened the door and said, I just wrote the song that's going to change our lives. Set up the camera. I need to shoot this. So she set up everything, and it was just a gray backdrop. We had one light, and we shot the video for Dear Rappers.
It's easy for these rappers who have it all. Talk about the days when they used to be sad. I guess I can relate to being famous and wealthy. I'm 28 and still praying for the day I have a chance.
I called my mom and said, Mom, I wrote a song that's going to change my life. I need like $100 so I can put an ad on Facebook and see if I can get this thing to go. Then I call my baby sister. I need $100. Call my buddy Brandon, get $100 from him. I call this other guy, get $100 from him. Me and Nova take the last money that we have. We have like $400, and our rent is like $650, and we don't have any groceries. I take all of this money and I pool it all together, and it's $1,100. The next morning, we put out Dear Rappers on a Facebook ad, and 24 hours later, it had 1 million views, and we were off to the races.
Yes, I love that.
I've always had a passion for helping people. Carrington really taught me to look at the patient.
2 weeks after that, a check came in the mail for $11,000. And that's the most money I'd ever seen in my entire life. Like, I just couldn't believe it. And next month I get a check for $20,000, and the next month 30, and the next month 50. All of a sudden we had $1 million.
Cancel culture runs the world now. The planet.
That's Fake Woke, y'all. If you haven't heard that one by Tom Macdonald, I would suggest play Fake Woke. Amazing song.
Crazy. Label everything we say as homophobic or racist.
I rap about political topics.
We won't always agree. No, I don't hate all police.
Gender stuff and race stuff.
I think Black Lives Matter. They think white lives matter less. And LGBTQ turned into WTF.
My favorite song of my own is always like the most recent one, but I really like You Missed.
They don't want it.
Yes, that is right after they try to take out Trump with that sniper shooter from the Democrats. You could tell he was a brainwashed liberal. But anyways, he released it on the day that it happened, and this shit went super viral, and I think it's one of the best songs he ever released as well.
Election, they got so offended by freedom that they just tried killing the president.
I remember being so pissed off and thinking, this moment doesn't need a song. It needs a battle cry.
You missed.
It's all been Nova and I from the inception of this thing. To this day, we distribute the music like totally independently. We don't have a manager. We don't have a publicist. There's no record labels, agents, like nothing. It's definitely not easy being independent, but with how anti-woke my music is, a record label's never going to let me make the songs that I've been making. The music business and the mainstream media, they all work together.
That's true.
At creating narratives and towing the line, and anything that goes against their agenda, that's not coming out. I talk about these things.
Again, the CIA runs the music industry from the top down. They are told what to put, and you have to sell your soul in order to get to the top. And that's why I have nothing but respect for Tom Macdonald. He's independent. Him and his lady and his family run it all. And they've gotten to a point where they are beating all these mainstream, huge record labels, providers that are backing these musicians. He's beaten all of them, and he does it by himself. So you should give him props for that at least.
And I don't even consider myself a conservative. I think I'm just like a free thinking person. So if they're going to take away my social media you cancel me. I own all the cameras. I own all the lights. I own the recording software. There's no endorsement that I'm going to lose. And you are not going to shut me up. You're not going to make me feel small. It's not happening.
I love that.
These artists that are top 40 artists that are mainstream, a lot of these people are controlled. They never get to express themselves. Yeah. I've talked to a lot of them. They hit me up privately and say like, hey, dude, good on you. Love what you're doing. They'd never acknowledge me publicly, ever. But even with all the censorship, we've got over 50 number ones on Billboard and 16 on the Hot 100, which is like the big boy chart. And I've gone head to head with Eminem on these charts and beat him. And Drake.
Because Eminem and Drake are garbage. They are industry puppets, and they put out what they might have a little bit of freedom, but they don't have as much freedom as you guys think, especially Eminem. Eminem's such a scumbag and a sellout. I used to be a big fan of Eminem. Now I can't even stand just looking at him on camera. Tom is the one on top right now, and there's a reason why, because he's independent. He actually talks about important events that are currently happening in his music. No other artist does that besides a very few also that I react to on my channel.
And beat them. There's people at record labels tearing their hair out over this stuff because they're sinking hundreds of thousands of dollars trying to convince people that these are the folks you should be listening to. And people are saying, I'm going to listen to Tom because there's like an appetite for real music and an appetite for truth. Just be real. That's what people want. They're getting lied to on the news. They get lied to in the paper. They get lied to on social media. Where is somebody that's just going to be honest with us? I'll do it. I don't care. I'm just grateful to be in America. After all, I came here unwell, addicted.
That song is Man in the Sky, his most recent. I absolutely love it. It's almost like an R&B mixed.
$800 in my wallet.
Or like R&B song mixed with some hip hop. I would suggest everyone to listen to it.
And built a whole life for myself and my girlfriend. It's really incredible. The American dream's still alive and well. All you have to do is live up to your potential. That's why I love this place so much. I just fell in love with the American spirit, and I fell in love with the people. And going out on July 4th and standing in the crowds and singing the anthems and watching the fireworks, it just makes me want to speak the truth even more. You know, my dad's a big rock guy, and he told me something when I started writing rap music. Rock and roll's always been about screaming the truth at the top of your lungs. He said, you might be rapping, but what you're doing is rock and roll. And rock on. This has been Stories of Us with me, Tom Macdonald. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you did, please consider making a donation to keep PragerU videos free.
I think once Tom Macdonald retires, he will go down as one of the most influential and most important artists that we've ever had in our country's history. I mean, the music these days is just pure garbage and nonsense. It doesn't have any messaging in it. It actually influences the young youth as well to do stupid shit as well. And we need more people like him praising loving your country, praising freedom of speech, anti-government, free thinking as well. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed it. Love you guys. Have a great day. Peace.